Welcome children. Welcome to Physics and Chemistry Made Easy. Our today's topic is kinematics, motion of the body without the action of force. So in kinematics we come across speed, velocity, acceleration, distance, displacement, average velocity, average speed and so many other things. Now we come across three equations also in kinematics, like the first equation is V is equal to U plus AT. And the second equation is S is equal to UT plus half AT square. And the third equation is V square minus U square is equal to 2AS. Now let us change these equations due to gravity. So it's the same equation of motions only, but due to gravity. When you speak about gravity, it's like going up and coming down, there will be a variation in G value. So as we go up, G value decreases. As you come towards Earth, G value increases. So decrease in gravity is represented with minus G. Increase in gravity is represented with plus G. Therefore, A should be shifted to G. Since just now I told you there is increase and decrease in the gravity, therefore you have to mention plus or minus. So you have changed A into G, therefore your S will change into H. So instead of having some displacement like this displacement now changes into height. Therefore S has to be shifted to H. Now let us write down the same equations once again. Under gravity, due to gravity, the first equation will be what? V is equal to plus or minus, V is equal to U plus or minus GT. This is your equation 1. So same thing, V is equal to U plus AT. Now A is shifted to G, therefore it is, and moreover G is plus or minus, therefore this is your first equation. And the second equation is what? Instead of S, now it has become H. Therefore, H is equal to UT plus or minus half GT square. This is your equation 2. The third equation is V square minus U square is equal to plus or minus 2GH. Why am I using plus or minus here? Because G. I am using plus or minus here because G is available. I am using plus or minus because G is available. Right, good. So this is something, right? V is equal to U plus AT, S is equal to UT plus half AT square, V square minus U square is equal to 2AS. Since I changed A into G, so everywhere A has become G, therefore S has been shifted to H. So these are the new equations under gravity. Now let's continue with those equations and study about these 9 derivations. And the first derivation is what? Freely falling body. Remember one thing, if you want to really work out with these equations properly, then you need to draw a sketch. So the first topic is what now? Freely falling body. Freely falling body. So what do you mean by freely falling body? What do you mean by freely falling body? Suppose I want to throw this pen cap down. I need not push it. I just need to leave it, that's all. And I just need to leave it, that's all. That means, and moreover it is free fall. So arrow goes down. So remember, what does this arrow indicate? It indicates that it is final direction, final. So wherever you find this final one, there lies final velocity. Therefore, since it is coming from the top, it is initial velocity. And I told you previously that as it is coming towards Earth, your G value increases. Now tell me which one will become 0. Since if you just leave the body, it will fall down. So initially, it need not have any type of energy. But the final energy, what? It remains as it is, because it doesn't come to ground and simply stop. It hits the ground and it takes time to settle down. So final velocity remains to be final, while initially 0. Now what am I to do? I have to take these values in all these 3 equations. So my first equation will be like this. V is equal to U plus or minus GT. This is called common equation. Then what is V is V. Therefore, V is equal to, since U is 0, it is 0, and H is, G is plus GT. Therefore, V is equal to GT is my first equation in case of free fall body. Then what is the second equation? H is equal to UT plus or minus half GT square. Now V remains V. I don't have V. U is 0. Therefore, let me substitute. U is 0. 0 into T plus, since G is plus half GT square. Therefore, H is equal to anything into 0 is 0. Therefore, it is half GT square. This is my equation 2. And then our final equation is what? V square minus U square is equal to plus or minus G2GH. This is what? A common equation. Now V remains to be V. Therefore, V square minus U is 0. Therefore, substitute that U square is 0. Therefore, since it is coming down, G is positive. So, it is 2GH. Now, right, 0 square is 0. Therefore, it is V square is equal to 2GH. If I apply square root on both sides, then it is V is equal to root 2GH. This is my equation 3. So, these are the 3 equations regarding free fall. So, under gravity, V is equal to GT is your first equation. Your H is equal to UT plus half AT square has turned into H is equal to half GT square. And the third equation is either it can be V square is equal to 2GH, because when you solve problems, at some cases you require this one, V square is equal to 2GH, and other cases V is equal to root 2GH. Now coming to second equation. The second equation is what? So I finished the first one. Second, body is thrown upwards. So arrow goes up. U and V. I told you already this indicates final direction, therefore V. While going up, it is minus G. Now which one will remain 0? Final. Because when you throw a body up, it requires some velocity. Otherwise, how it will go up? Therefore, when it goes up at this point, final velocity becomes 0. Therefore, under gravity again it will fall down. So, I am speaking about second equation, body thrown upwards. Body thrown upwards. Body is thrown upwards. Equation 2. Right, let us start. Now, let us substitute these things in all the 3 equations. V is equal to U plus or minus GT. That's the first equation. Now what happens? V is 0. Therefore 0 is equal to U minus GT, and therefore you take this to the other side. Minus U is equal to minus GT. Minus and minus gets cancelled. U is equal to GT. This is the first equation. Do you remember your first equation in free fall? V is equal to GT. Now it is U is equal to GT because previous case body is falling down. Now in this case body is going up. It is thrown up. Okay. The second equation is what? H is equal to UT plus or minus half GT square. Now let me substitute the values. H is H. U is what? U. Therefore it remains as it is UT. Since G is negative, therefore it's minus half GT square. This is equation 2. And the third equation is V square minus U square is equal to 2GH, plus or minus. Now what happens? V remains to be 0, therefore 0 square minus U square is equal to minus 2GH, because G is negative. These two gets cancelled, therefore the formula is U square is equal to 2GH, or else just now I told you, isn't it? U is equal to root 2GH. This is your equation 3. So what did you get in case of free fall? You got V is equal to, because the body is falling down. In this case the body is going up, therefore you got it as U is equal to square root 2GH. Now coming, this is about body thrown upwards. Now let us speak about the third equation. The third equation is about what? Maximum height. Body is thrown up and it is reaching maximum height. So you speak something at height. So third equation is body reaching maximum height. Now we'll see. When you say height, so you are speaking particularly about h. So remember, you are particularly speaking about h. H is your topic, right? So body is thrown up. Why up? Because you are clearly saying that it is height. So it has to be thrown up to reach this height h. So u over here, v over here. What happens to v? Remains to be 0 because it is reaching the maximum height. If the body wants to go up, you have to initially create velocity, and then while going up, g is negative. So now the equation is third equation. Let us substitute in all these values in third equation. Why? Because there is no h in the first equation. Second equation has h, but it does not have something about final velocity. But whereas third equation has got all these three. Therefore, v square minus u square is equal to plus or minus 2gh. What is v? 0. Therefore, it is 0 square minus u square is equal to minus 2gh. Minus and minus gets cancelled. You get it as u square is equal to 2gh. So don't leave it like that and write u is equal to root 2gh. Don't write, because your topic is h. So h is equal to, so it is by 2g and it is u square over here. Therefore, h is equal to u square by 2g is the formula to calculate maximum height. Remember, there are so many problems in foundation level, NEET JEE, advanced and main. Foundation level, you will have so many problems based on height, where h is equal to u square by 2g. So we have finished the third equation. Now let us think about equation 4. Now what does equation 4 say? Time of ascent. First of all, you should understand what is time of ascent. It is time taken by the body to reach the maximum height from the ground. So you are throwing the body up. It is the time taken by the body to reach maximum height from ground. That is the definition. So it is what? Time of ascent. And time of ascent, you can represent it with t1. Whether it is t1 or t, it doesn't make any difference. Okay. So we are speaking about the fourth equation, time of ascent. Same. What did I say? Time taken by the body to reach this maximum height. Okay. That means body is thrown upwards. So u is equal to, again, u. See, remember, if a body is thrown upward, u will be u and v will be 0 at this point. If a body is falling down, then u on the top will be 0 and v will be v. That's how very simple it is. So minus g. Time of ascent, let us take first equation. V is equal to u plus or minus gt. But it is okay, gt only, it is gt. Since we are saying that, let us take it as t1, t1. That doesn't make any difference. So v is equal to u plus or minus gt. What is your v? 0. 0 is equal to u. Since g is minus, g t1. When you bring u to the other side, minus u is equal to minus gt1. And minus minus gets cancelled. You get it as u is equal to gt1. So better we write it for t1. Because our topic is t1. Okay, t1 is equal to u by g. This is the formula used to calculate time of ascent. You have problems based on this time of ascent. Initial velocity will be given to you. G may or may not be given to you, because it is universally accepted, isn't it? Small g is equal to, that is gravitational force, is equal to 9.8 meter per second square, or it is 10 meter per second square. This is all about time of ascent. Let us now discuss about the fifth one, time of descent. And it is represented with t2. It doesn't make any difference whether it is t2 or t1. What do you mean by time of descent? Time taken by the body to reach ground from maximum height. So it's coming down. When a body was going up, we called it as time of ascent. It's time taken by the body to reach maximum height from ground. This is descent. So it's coming down. Down case. Okay. So therefore arrow is like this, down. So v remains v final, initially u, and while coming down g is positive. Now which one is 0? It's a free fall. So u is 0, v remains to be v. Let us substitute it in the equation 2. H is equal to ut plus or minus half gt square. So let us take this as T2. That doesn't make any difference, T2. Now H is equal to, your U is 0. It's nothing but a free fall. So time taken by the body to reach ground. So U is 0. 0 into T. While coming down, it is positive G plus half GT square, that is T2 square. So 0 into anything is 0. Therefore you got it as H is equal to 1 into GT2 square, it is 1 GT2 square by 2. So let's cross multiply. GT2 square is equal to 2H. What is it I want to know? I want to know T2. T2 is my target. T2, I want to know T2. Therefore, T2 square is equal to, it is 2H by G. So what I want to remove the square. So T2, it is square root on both sides. Square root is applied on both sides. So this square root and this gets cancelled. What is left over now? It is T2 is equal to root 2H by G. But we know very well that H is equal to U square by 2G. Where did you come across this one? Third equation, maximum height. So let me substitute at the place of H. Therefore it is T2 is equal to root remains as it is, square root, 2 remains as it is, by G as it is, it remains. At the place of H I have tried U square by 2G. This 2 and this 2 gets cancelled. So what is left over? T2 is equal to square root U by G whole square. So these two again gets cancelled, and finally I got it as T2 is equal to U by G. Now what was my formula for time of ascent? U by G. For time of descent, U by G. That means what? Time of ascent. Remember, time of ascent is equal to time of descent, no doubt, because time of ascent is U by G. Time of descent is also U by G. So once again, time of ascent is equal to time of descent. But time of ascent is not directly proportional to time of descent. It is not directly proportional. Instead, time of ascent or descent is directly proportional to initial velocity. Very important bit. Time of ascent is not directly proportional to time of descent. Instead, both are equal. But time of ascent or time of descent, they are directly proportional to initial velocity. So we have finished equation 5. Now we'll see equation number 6, time of flight. Let us consider time of flight as t. Now what does time of flight mean? See, when you are throwing, suppose say this is ground. You are throwing your body up. So from the time it leaves the ground, okay, it is in air only. So going up is called time of ascent. Now coming down is called time of descent. So before touching the ground and when it leaves the ground, it is in what? Air. Therefore that point is called as time of flight. Means time taken by the body to remain in the air. One concept. Or else it is sum of, it is a sum of time of ascent and time of descent. Now what is time of sum of? So t is equal to, what is time of ascent? T1. What is time of descent? We represented T2. What is the value you got for time of ascent? U by G. What is the value for time of descent? U by G. Therefore the answer is 2U by G. Therefore time of flight is T is equal to 2U by G. This is the formula for time of flight. It is the sum of time of ascent and time of descent. Denominator is same, so you are adding the numerators. U plus U is 2U. Remember, U into U is U square. but while u plus u is equal to 2u. So finally you got it as 2u by g. This is time of flight. Means what? Time taken by the body to remain in the air. Air means time of ascent is also in the air, time of descent is also in the air. So you are adding these two. Right, done. Very good. So we finished time of flight. The next is now 7th equation, velocity on reaching ground. Ground, as I said already, ground, reaching ground. So arrow is downwards. U is equal to and V is equal to and G coming down, G is plus. Now which one is 0? It's free fall again, freely falling body. So U is 0 and V is V. We have to substitute all this in third equation. V square minus U square is equal to plus or minus 2GH. What is V square? V. That V square minus U square remains to be 0 because it's a free fall, as I said. G is positive, 2GH. Therefore, V square is equal to 2GH or V is equal to root 2GH. This is a formula for velocity on reaching ground. Now let us do equation 7. Velocity on reaching ground. 7th one is velocity on reaching ground. Okay, velocity on reaching ground. That means what? Body is thrown downwards. Velocity on reaching ground. So nothing but free fall. U is equal to 0. V remains to be V. While coming down, G is positive. Let us substitute all this in equation 3. What is the equation? V square minus U square is equal to plus or minus 2GH. Now what happens to V? V remains to be V. V square minus 0 square is equal to, coming down it is positive, therefore 2GH. Therefore V square is equal to 2GH or V is equal to root 2GH. Now I am speaking about velocity on reaching ground. Velocity on reaching ground. So U remains to be 0 and V is V. That's why I got formula as V is equal to root 2GH. If I am speaking about velocity on reaching height, how an object will reach height? That means U remains to be U. There I need U is equal to root 2GH. Now we will do it, okay? So the next last and final one, 8th equation, velocity on reaching height. Now let us do 8th one. What is the 8th one? Velocity on reaching height. Okay, velocity on reaching height. Height means what? Body is thrown up. Arrow shows that it is going up. Therefore, V remains to be 0. See, it is nothing but body thrown upwards. So, U is U. Without U, how the body will go up? So, U is U. And while going up, G is negative. So, let us substitute these in the third equation. V square minus U square is equal to plus or minus 2GH. U is U while V is 0 at height. Therefore, 0 square minus U square is equal to minus 2GH. So, minus and minus gets cancelled. U square is equal to 2GH and U is equal to root 2GH. So, what did I get when the body was reaching ground? I got it as V is equal to root 2GH. Now my topic is body on reaching height. Therefore, I got it as U is equal to root 2GH. Because if a body has to reach height, U remains U. That's why I got it as U is equal to root 2GH. And in the previous case, velocity on reaching ground means when body is falling down, U remains 0, V is V. Therefore, I got it as V is equal to root 2GH in the previous case. Now it is U is equal to root 2GH.